Hey y'all, it's Rusty with Mossy, and today I want to show you a step-by-step process to break down a Steyr Pro Hunter 2 rifle. Okay y'all, the very first thing you want to do when handling a firearm is always check to make sure it's unloaded. So let's go ahead and do that. Nothing in the mag, nothing in the barrel. I like to even, kind of stick the pinky finger down in there, just make sure. If you don't feel around and you don't see around, double check the mag. This gun is completely empty, so we're safe to handle it and move forward with the steps. Okay, step one for me is gonna be remove the scope. Now, that's not a necessary step for everybody. It just kind of depends on the type mounts you're using. I'm using the quick release mounts right here on this particular scope setup, so I can take this scope off very easy and just kind of get it out of the way. So that's what I'm gonna do. Just gonna turn these levers on this scope, quick release mounts right here, loosen those. That's gonna free the scope up. And I'm just gonna move it out of my way. Okay, next thing I'm gonna do is remove the bolt. Really easy to do, guys. Take your thumb, go to your safety roller right here, go forward to fire. Open the bolt and then start bringing it back, but only bring it back a little bit so you don't cover up the safety roller. Go back in there with your thumb, go back in reverse, put it on safety, and then that's gonna allow the bolt to come completely out of the gun. Really simple. All right, next I'm just gonna set the rifle and barrel and receiver assembly aside, and then I'm gonna get the bolt and we'll go into showing you how to actually break the bolt apart in the event that you want to get inside that bolt into the firing pin and the spring and do some cleaning in there. All right, on this particular bolt here, it's got a little catch release button right here that presses in. You can get your thumb to it pretty easy. And one key thing to pay attention to is right here on the bolt sleeve or the bolt cap, this rear part of the bolt, you'll see this area here lines up with the bolt handle. So keep that in mind. That's how it's going to need to go back together, and we'll show you that. All right, so grab the bolt with your left hand, grab the rear, the bolt cap or sleeve with your right hand and use your thumb, and then press this detach button here. And as you're doing that, rotate clockwise. Okay, it's going to snap forward, and then that's gonna loosen it up, and you'll be able to pull this bolt cap or sleeve off and then reach in and remove the firing pin assembly. At this point, you can do whatever cleaning you wanna do with the firing pin and the spring there, as well as this bolt cap here, okay? Very easy, so that bolt is completely broke down. So that's how you break apart the bolt itself. The next thing I'm gonna do is remove the barrel, receiver, and trigger assembly away from the stock of the rifle. Very easy to do. I'll just kind of lay it over on its top like that, where the bottom of the rifle is facing up right here in front of me. First thing, remove the magazine. Really easy. So here's where we'll use the little driver with the 3 different size Allen screws. Okay, first thing, take the smallest one, or you could use a little small Torx bit even, as well as an Allen right here, and remove this rear screw at the back end of the trigger guard, okay? Go ahead and do that. Just kind of leave it sitting in there. Then I'm gonna go to the 4mm. The screw in the front of the trigger guard comes out next. Okay, and then just simply pull it straight out. You can see the difference in the length of those screws there. And I like to keep the screws in the holes where they go. That way, when I go to put the firearm back together, I don't get confused on what screws go where. So I'll just lay the trigger guard down right here with the screws still attached. Okay, the last screw that you'll remove is the main screw right up here in front of the magazine box that holds the stock to the barrel assembly. Go with the 5mm Allen bit, loosen that out. I just kind of turn it over and let that screw fall out. There's that screw, I'll lay it to the side. And at this point, we can remove the barrel and receiver and trigger assembly from the stock. I kind of started up front by the barrel, just kind of pressing up with my thumb and fingers. Kind of gets it loose, gets it going. Then I can swap over move my hand down to the middle of the barrel and just pull it straight up like that. That easy. So all of this is attached right here. You've got the barrel, goes into the receiver. You've got the trigger assembly there and the little magazine box here. So now I'll just go back through the steps in reverse order and put it back together for you so y'all can see that, okay? All right, stock, barrel receiver trigger assembly, just lays straight in there. Just kind of look, make sure everything's lined up. Like, one thing to pay attention to is the slot right here where the bolt goes up and down. Make sure it's even and clear. That way you know once the bolt goes back in the rifle, it's gonna, operate correctly. Now it's in there, it lays in there one way. So let's turn it back over and then we'll just go in the opposite order that we took everything apart. I'll get the main screw here that holds the stock to the barrel. Go back in with it, just like that. Now let's go back to the 4mm. Take the trigger guard, lay it back in just like we took it out. The longer screws in the front, shorter screws in the back, 4mm for the longer screw. Cinch it down, then switch to the 2mm or a little small Torx, like I said earlier. Tighten up that rear screw there. Again, you don't want to over tighten any of this stuff either. Just want to, tighten it, cinch it really good, but not overdo it. Okay, at this point, we can put the mag back in, just like that. So now the main part of the gun is back assembled. Now let's take the bolt, put the firing pin back in it, and then put the bolt cap or sleeve on the rear of it back on it and get it back in position. Okay, first thing is, let's actually go ahead and put the firing pin and spring assembly back to the bolt cap here. Just kind of goes one way. If you look right here, there's a cut, little indentation there, and then right here you'll see an area that it just makes sense to go in if you just kind of look at it. That's exactly how it goes. Take the bolt, slide it in. Now remember, I said this earlier, this area here of the bolt cap was lined up even with the bolt handle, but when we did the clockwise rotation to free that up, it moved it this way. So now we're gonna go counterclockwise, actually a couple of steps back past the bolt handle, then we'll go one more step back clockwise and line it up where it was before. So to do that, you're gonna press this same detach button right here, press, and then let's go holding with the left hand on the bolt, right hand on the bolt cap, pressing this detach button. We're gonna go counterclockwise, just like that. You probably heard, it was like a two-stage deal right there. It went twice. Now it's still not, this area here that I pointed out earlier is not in line with the bolt handle, but it will be now because I'm about to go back clockwise one step. You can hear it, listen. Just like that, snapped right into place. Now, bolt is fully assembled. Next, pick up the rifle, take the bolt, you'll line it up, you'll see it's only one way it goes. Go in and shut it down, okay? Put it on fire, make sure everything works. It does, and we're good to go. I'll do a test fire, dry fire, obviously making extra sure that we are not loaded. We are not. We're on fire. Okay, working rifle. It's back together. Last step for me, get the scope on it. Again, as I said earlier, this is just the way I chose to do it today because I've got the quick release rings. You don't have to take the scope off. Some of you might have done that whole process right there without taking the scope off. So now I'm tightening it back up. So we're good to go. We're back to a fully functional rifle. The Steyr Pro Hunter 2. The steps to take to disassemble and reassemble. Really easy. Y'all check it out.